Okay, in the last video we left off, we had created the header, created all the pages, we added the pages to the navigation bar, and now we're going to go through and start creating the content on these pages that we have. So the first page we're going to focus on is this home page. So for this website, typically on your home page, one of the first things you're going to have on the top is like a slideshow. It doesn't have to be, it's very popular to have a slideshow at the top. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go over here, click on our home page, and then these are all the sections that we can add to the page. So a gallery, for instance, we can add a gallery to the page, and we can select the gallery we want to add, or a slider. So we're going to do a slideshow. And a slideshow is basically, you'll see, but if they see one image, it slides over, another image takes its place, or fades out depending on the slideshow or the effect. So, but as you notice, we don't have any gallery. So the first thing we need to go do is we need to go over to the gallery section and make sure there's a gallery for the slideshow. So there's nothing here, so we're going to add a new gallery, name it something so you know what it is. Homepage slider. And then you're going to upload your slideshows. The one thing to make sure you do with the slideshows is you want to make sure all of your images be the same size or dimensions. One of the worst things you can do, well, I guess not one of the worst things, but it looks very tacky when you have an image that's one size and then it slides to the next and it's longer, so all the content's shifting up and down, and especially when you're below it, if you're trying to read something, it's moving up and down and makes it very frustrating for the user. So I'm going to show you how I would recommend using Canva, the free tool, to create a slideshow template that you can use over and over again to make sure your images are exactly the same size. So over in Canva, back to Canva, we're going to create a template. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a design, and I'm going to do a custom width here. I don't think they have, let's see. Slideshow videos. Yeah, they don't have a slideshow template for slideshow images. These are all videos. So we're going to create our custom design, and we're basically going to create a design that's a specific width. So you can kind of do whatever you would like. You want to make sure, obviously, your image is wide enough to fill the area of the content. So you want to make sure it's at least this wide to fill the content, because if it's not, it'll get stretched out and it'll lose quality because you're stretching it out and making those pixels a lot stretched out. And it'll make it look like the image is a poor quality image, when in really it's just a small image being stretched out. So you don't want it too big either, because these are bigger images and you don't want them to slow your website down too much. So a rule of thumb is I like to make mine between 13 to 1300 pixels wide by 2000. So we're going to go here, and I have a template. I have one here I've already used, 1200 pixels wide by 450 pixels height. I'm not 100% sure what this is going to look like. Let's look at the dimensions. I like that. I like that. It's a little bit taller, and you can do that. So here's some templates you can choose. If you want to use these templates, you can definitely do that. So for instance, I can pop this over here, select it, and it creates a template. You can come in here and change, add a lot of content in there. These templates are very nice with Canva to be able to make professional looking graphics without needing a lot of extra work. So what I like to do is I like to go ahead and figure out what content I'm going to have on the home page. So for this one, we're going to focus on organic decor, and I already uploaded a few here, so you can see we're going to go ahead and do this image here. And if I just slide this over, you'll notice the image is there, but it's kind of cropped. You can't really fit the image because a slideshow is very wide, and you don't want the slideshow to be too tall because your content here is very important. You want to make sure you get content for people to see. If you have a very tall image that's taking up the whole page, it's going to make it so people have to scroll more to see content. And the more people have to scroll, the less likely they are to view it. So you want to make sure it's not too tall with that. So what I like to do is, instead of trying to force an image into that specific size, I'll come over here, and in Canva, I believe it's in the elements section. Yep, here we go. So the grids. So I'm going to go ahead and do 2 grids side by side, and that puts 2 images side by side like this. Now what I can do over here is I can come over here, take this image, drag it over here. Now I got one image on the left I can double click it. Let's make it a little as big as we can. So let's max that size out a little bit. So get the TV out a little bit. We'll crop a little bit of the balloons to have less TV. I know I'm going to have a title at the bottom, so I'm going to scoot that to the top. I like that. Okay, so I have my first image, and then we'll use this for the second image, drag it over there. For this one, I'm going to make it a little bigger, mainly so I can just scoot it up a little bit. There we go. I like that. There we go. Click out. So here's my organic page, and that's a slideshow. It's very professional. If you want, within Canva, they have templates and text you can add. So over here in text, you can have stuff like add this in here. You can customize it quite a bit. I mean, the options are endless when it comes to Canva. Adding text in there. If, for instance, if you have text in front of there, but it's hard to read, they have elements, so you can add just a solid shape. Let's go ahead and add a solid shape, change the width of it, put it in position. We're going to scoot it backwards so the text is on top of it. So you see the text. It's easier to see the text now. Now we're going to make this a white color. And so make sure you can see the slideshow. We will make it a little more transparent as well. So you can play at that. So there's a lot you can do with that. Obviously, this will probably be at the bottom of the page so you can see more of the images. That's just an example of how you can edit things within Canva to make a good looking professional template. For this, we're not going to have any text or anything. That's your choice what you'd like to do. I'm going to show you how the title within Balloon Suite gets put on. So we're going to name it. So this is what it downloads. It downloads the image as what you put here. So that's why I kind of make it look a little bit weirder. With instead of having spaces, I put dashes and I don't capitalize anything just because it'll be a file. So I have to change the file name. This is what the file name will be. If you have spaces, it'll put spaces in it and capitalize it, but that's not very file friendly. So we're going to download, definitely a PNG. And then once that's downloaded, you now have that image that you can upload into your slideshow. So now we have our first slideshow. If we save it, we now have the homepage slider. We go back to homepage, edit. Now when we go to the gallery section, we'll be able to select this gallery. Make it a slider. You can add a title and a subtitle. I'll show you what it looks like. For the homepage slider, however, I wouldn't recommend having one just because it does add a bar and a title and a subtitle. So I like to not have a title and a subtitle there. There we go. So if we had a title and a subtitle, perfect. So we don't got that updated. We'll see why that's not showing, but yeah. You have your slideshow here. You'll notice there's only one image. So when we add another image, it'll slide to the next image. But for this, we're going to go ahead and go on to the next thing. But I would recommend having 3 to 5 images. After 4 and 5 images, no one sticks around long enough. It's really not going to do anything, and all you're doing is making more content to load and slowing your load page down on the website. So I wouldn't recommend having more than 5. I like to have around 3 or 4, and I would max out at 5. So what I'm going to do is now I want to add my title to this. So on each image, if you hover over, there's a little pencil. You can add a title, organic balloon decor, newest trend in balloon decor, update it. Update. So now when I come back here, now it puts a title over it, the newest trend in balloon decor. So that's another way of adding the title. The reason why I like these titles is they're at the bottom, but obviously if you can see, I can select this text. This is not on the image, it's just over the top of the image. So this is text that is readable by Google. If you were to put it in Canva here, Google's not going to read that. So now I have organic balloon decor here. So it's another more keywords way to add content to your website. So yeah, that's why I like to use that option there. So the second thing we're going to do on the home page is right below that, I want to add a little welcome. So we're going to add a title. Make sure I spell it right. Then give it a little subheader. And I'll go back and make sure and optimize this content. But for the video, I'm going to quickly do it. So I completely butchered that. There we go. So you want to make sure that in this subheading, you put a little bit of kind of content of where you serve. It's a way of adding what kind of areas you serve. So I'm just going to do a really quick one. I'd probably add a couple of sentences here. But you want to make sure, but put something like, we offer the best balloon decor. We've been offering the balloon decor in this area for over 20 years or something like that. Just to make sure people know kind of what area you serve. First off, you want your customers to know, but also you're putting those words on your page so Google knows those are the areas you serve as well. So having that good content, it does a double whammy there. So once we add it, come back here, you can see welcome to Neon Balloons, and then this would probably be a couple lines of text welcoming them, and we'll add that. So the third thing I really like to add on each home page is your services. So one of the most important things you want your customers to see are the things that you offer. And the easiest way to do that is, the most effective way to do that, and it's been proven, is to have your services listed on your home page. And whether you like that design or not, that is what's going to work the best to make sure your customers find what they're looking for the easiest, and you're going to have the best results from your website, which is the purpose of your website, is results. So I like to add a picture of all my services that link to where they want to go. They also do have the option up here to find it, so we have multiple places for them to find it. But when they come here to this page on the landing page, I want to add features. This is going to be a feature section. And what we're going to do is I'm going to rename this one just so I know what it is. And this is going to be our services. Now, this is not visible to anybody. It's just more inside of me. I mean, on the back end, so I can see exactly what's going on and have a better idea of what each section is. So home slider. Especially when you get down to like the HTML title, sometimes it's kind of hard to know what's inside that section. So rename it makes it very easy. So now we're going to add our services. And for this one, I'm going to keep the subheader out, and we're going to add, let's see, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We'll make it 8 just to make sure they're even. So I'm going to add 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So now I have 8 features, sections. And just to kind of show you what that looks like, obviously there's no images or anything, but now it puts a little bit of content down here. Now I'm looking at that and I feel like this is a little too close to this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little space between my welcome message. So spacing, I'm going to make it large, update it, and I should put a little more space between them. Okay, that looks better. So now we have these sections, and there's nothing there yet, and we're going to go ahead and add those for all these services. So the first service, we're going to click into it, and this is going to be balloon arches. I'm going to remove this text. You don't have to. And then I'm going to link it. When they click on it, I want them to go to the balloon arch page. So if I come here, update that, back here, you'll see now it says balloon arch. When they click it, they go to the balloon arch page. The next thing you're going to do is I want to add some images. So I'll come back and we'll do all the services, and then we'll add images afterwards. So I'm going to pause this because it's more tedious, and then we'll come back when they're all listed, and then we'll add the images after. Okay, so now I've gone through and I've named all of these. So each one of our services here, they link to the correct page. And then when you go here, you will see each one of these will link to the corresponding page. So organic balloon decor right there. So now we're going to want to do is add some images so they can kind of get a little more, it stands out a little more, but it also looks a lot nicer and they can kind of see what each one is. So for these, you're also going to want, just like the slideshow, you're going to make sure each one of these images is the exact same size. Otherwise, you're going to have one image, one box here, a box down here, another box up here, and then everything else down here will just be white space before the next row. Because this, if you have one that's longer here, it's going to push this row down. And if these don't match it, there's going to be a bunch of white space below. So I'm going to do the same thing I did with balloon, with the slider. Over here, I'm going to create a custom size. But for this, we're going to do, I'm going to make it square. So let's do 500 by 500. That gives me a good. And for that, we'll use, let's see if this image fits or not. Yeah, that works pretty well. And actually, what I think I'm going to do is, instead of doing a square, let's cancel that. Yeah, I'm not sure how to delete it, but we'll delete it later. So I'm going to do 500 by 350. Change my mind. I want it to be a little bit wider than taller so the images are easier to fit. All right. So I probably could go a little bit smaller for those so they load quicker, but that'll be a good one. So now we can put this in here. There we go. So that fits a lot better. I'm going to make it a little stretched out so we can, so it's bigger, so it fills the area. And remember, to do that, you just double click the image and it pulls up the options. Pretty simple. Perfect. So I got my service. So we're going to do, name it whatever we want the file to be, download it. And then we come in here to our services, find organic decor, image, upload new image. Come back here. Now you'll see it has an image. Click it, takes the organic decor page. And then we just need to go in here. So you'll notice, see, that's what I'm talking about. So if the image, if the box is not the same size, you get this white space below, which doesn't look as good. So having all the images the same size is going to make sure that they look very well and fit together very well. So I'm going to go ahead and create the rest of these images, and then we'll come back. Okay, real quick before I do the rest, I wanted to make sure I mention, so for these templates that I create, now that I've downloaded this image, I will just delete that, upload the next image I want to use, drag it in there. You can see this image is a lot bigger, and it's a different shape than the other one I was using. But by doing it this way, I'm using that same template that I used before. Now, when I download it, it's going to be the exact same size. So that is how you're going to make sure that your image is the same size for all of them. And then if in Canva also, you'll notice when I do a design, that design gets saved. So this services page and the organic decor slider have been saved, and I can always use that over and over again, come back over and over again. So we'll take that into the services, balloon arch, upload the image. Go to the balloon arch page, save it, update it. So we come back here, and the balloon arch page and the balloon decor, and you can see they're the same size, and it looks very, very crisp. And now I'll come back once they're all uploaded and done. Okay, I'm back one more time. So I came across use case. I want to make sure I let you know what I was doing. So I came across I'm doing balloon sculptures, and you'll notice these images are not very, the size doesn't fit the dimensions that I did. So I don't want to upload, I don't want to change the size because they have to be the same, the images have to be the same size, but these images don't really fit. So this I'm going to do similar to what I did with the home page, with the slideshow, as I'll come down to the grids. I'll just do them side by side. They still look very professional, still look very good. I just put 2 on 1 image. So now, I have, this is actually one single image right here that has 2 smaller images inside of it. So when I upload it, it'll still be the same size as the rest of the images. So that's a way that you can kind of get around making sure that the image size is consistent, even if you don't have images that fit within the area. Okay, so now we're back, and I made an adjustment. I took 2 of the services out. So now we have balloon arches, balloon columns, organic decor, sculptures, centerpieces, and balloon twisting. And as you notice, each image is the exact same size, and it looks very, very professional. So after this, these are the 2 things that I definitely would recommend every website have. A simple slideshow that doesn't take up too much space, a welcome message to welcome your users, but you want to make sure that there's some good content in here. So you notice I use Pennsylvania in a couple places. I also use balloon decor and balloons all over the place. So if Google comes and searches this, anywhere that's yellow, Google's going to see balloons used all over the place. And that will definitely help when it comes to SEO and making your website more SEO friendly. And then I use Pennsylvania a few times. I put Southern Pennsylvania. Not 100% sure what part of Pennsylvania they serve, but for now I'll put Southern just for purposes. But you can kind of see we have a home page that's come together pretty well. This is the content you want your customers to see. After this, there's a couple different options. You can use basically anything down here you'd like. If you got a lot of products, maybe instead of services, you want to offer products. So we have categories, occasions. If you're blogging, your recent blog posts can be down there. Unfortunately, there's no blogs here, but you can see there's now recent blog posts, and it would show your most recent blog post below there. So there's quite a few different options. We'll go through each one of these are most likely on the other pages. And we'll be adding to these as well. So we have an Instagram feed coming out as well as testimonials that you can add to the home page. So this is how you would build your home page. And this looks like a pretty good home page. So if I was to add a few sample blog posts, I'll pause that and do that real quick because it doesn't really matter. You don't want to see this part of it. Okay, so now I've added some blog posts, and we're going to choose basically how many blog posts per row we want and how many rows. I'm just going to do 1 row of 4, so it'll be 4 total. And if you come back here, refresh it, you'll notice they're now already shown. They're now blog posts at the bottom. So you'll show your recent blog posts. Hover over it. If you click on it, it goes to the actual blog. And you can see the image I used wasn't quite big enough, but you get the idea. Here's all your blog posts here. You got your categories. And it works very well with for being able to blog. And the great thing about blogging is each one of these posts are additional pages on your website. This is a page. It's under the blog, but it is its own page. Google will read this, and this potentially could show on the search engines. So that goes a lot more of SEO and stuff like that. So we're going to go ahead here and wrap up the home page, and then we'll move on to more of one of the services page. Very similar thing, but there'll be some different things you'll want to make sure you include on each one when it comes to your services. So we'll hop over there. The next video will be adding a page for services.